Welcome, my young friends, young learners. How are you all? I, Rakhi Mishra, welcome you all to this session of language, that is English for Class 5 from Marigold, the textbook. And today we are going to discuss Unit 2, both poem and prose. Now, children, before I talk anything about this poem, let me ask you, let me just put some words before you. And I think you can guess very well why am I talking about these things. When I say that you all have spent this lockdown period with your friends, with your parents, with your grandparents, you all must have enjoyed playing some games, right? I think yes. And when I say games, definitely the games, several games like cricket, badminton, volleyball, basketball, these things come to your mind. Yes, I'm sure you all must have played several times. Now, here I would like to ask you, what is common in these all games? When we talk about cricket, when we talk about badminton, when we talk about volleyball, when we talk about basketball, what is common in all these games? I think, if I'm not wrong, the word team comes to your mind. Yes, these games are played in teams. We have two teams, Team A, Team B, and there is a tight competition between these two games. And my dear children, when we talk about team, I think some of things that come to your mind that you cannot play any game if you don't have understanding, if you don't have team spirit, if you don't have cooperation, if you don't have coordination amongst the players. And in the process of playing these games, we learn, we get so many qualities, we enrich ourselves, we improve ourselves with so many qualities like the values like mutual understanding, values like sharing and caring, right? So now today the poem that we are going to read, we are going to enjoy rather, I would say, it's teamwork. Yes, my dear children, let's sing. Please listen to this. I'm trying to sing it for you all. This poem is written by Jean Negro. And here, he's going to, the poet has sung this, poet has written this to tell us that there are certain things that we cannot achieve on our own. We have to depend on our team members. We have to depend on the entire, each and every individual of the team. Listen to the song. Teamwork, teamwork, together we can make our dream work. Then we will share the joy of what we have done. Teamwork, everyone, everyone, everyone. It's fun to shoot the basketball through the hoop. But if nobody passes, then nobody shoots. And the relay race just can't go on if nobody wants to pass the baton. We are the parts that make up the whole, and we have got our eyes on the goal. Sometimes it can be a big plus when you and me becomes an us. So here was the poem. I just tried to sing it for you. Hope all of you have enjoyed it. Now, my dear children, if you see the poem, it says, teamwork, teamwork. Together we can make our dream work, right? Then we will share the joy of what we have done. Teamwork, everyone, yes. It's only through togetherness that we can achieve, we can enjoy, we can make it so joyful even for all of us. Alone we can't do. It's togetherness, it's team that makes the event so joyful for all of us. Then the poet has talked about certain games like basketball, right? Basketball, what do you get? What do you do in that? You have a ball and we keep passing it. We keep passing the ball and one has to take and put it in the basket. We have to basket it. And is it possible for anyone to basket if the ball is not passed? I think no. All of you must have played, or you must have seen your seniors, your elder brothers and sisters playing this game. And you must have learned that, yes, we have to keep sharing. We have to keep passing on the ball to really have a basket and then call, yes, our team has done a basket. Similarly, another one you all must have seen during your athletic meet, that there is a team called relay race. There is an event called relay race. And we have a team of 4 members, 4 sprinters. And what do? They have a baton in their hand. And what each one has to do is, each runner has to run to a certain distance and pass on the baton. Now, do you think this relay race can ever be completed if the baton is not passed? I think no. Again, we are talking about a teamwork. Yes, my dear children, there has to be understanding. There has to be a mutual understanding, a cooperation, a coordination between each and every player who will pass on the baton, and then the team wins. It is not one runner. It's not one racer who wins the race. It's the entire team which wins the race. And that is what is the concept, the beauty of playing any game in a team. Next stanza. We are the parts that make up the whole. Yes, we individuals, when we combine, we make a proper whole. If you see the concept of whole numbers, right? Fractions only add up to make whole numbers, right? Similarly, we individuals in a team, when we combine, we make it as a whole. And we have got our eyes on the common goal. We all have a common target. And what is that common target? We have to win. We have to lose. We have to win. We don't have to lose, right? And we have to play with the proper team spirit, and we have to maintain discipline. These are certain goals that our team has to win. We have to be called the winner team, right? Then sometimes it can be a big plus when we and you and me becomes an us, right? So what does it mean? That when we together we come, when we make a plus, when we come together, then we make it as I. We don't call it as I or you. We become us, and we are united. So I hope, my children, you have understood the poem. And now, moving on to the next thing, that is, once again, we'll just quickly read the poem. Teamwork, teamwork, together we can make our dream work. Then we'll share the joy of what we have done. Teamwork, teamwork, everyone. It's fun to shoot the basketball through the hoop. But if nobody passes, then nobody shoots. And the relay race just can't go on if nobody wants to pass the baton. We are the parts that make up the whole, and we have got our eyes on a common goal. Sometimes it can be a big plus when a you and a me becomes an us. Right? Now, my dear children, while I was reading and while you were enjoying listening to me, discussing with me about the poem, you must have come across some new words. Is it not? I'm sure you must have noted certain new words that this poem has. Please note these new words. Teamwork. You all have heard team as a word, but teamwork means when we have a combined effort of a group. Next word, new word for you, maybe hoop. What is a hoop? It's a wooden or iron ring trundled along by a child. You must have seen sometimes a iron ring is surrounded by all around the player, and it twists and it keeps on moving. The child keeps on moving. Similarly, when we play basketball, we have a net hanging around, tied around a hoop, and we have to put the basketball in that basket, right? Then next is passes. Passes means here does not means you pass or fail. Here it means when we are talking about move onward. The ball is passed to the another one, right? Now comes relay race. What is relay race? Race between teams of which each person does part of a distance. What does it mean? That in a relay race, it's not one individual who is taking part in the race. It's team of 4 which makes it as a team, right? Then comes baton. What is baton? Baton is a short tube or a stick carried in relay race. And this baton is actually passed on to the next runner so that this team completes the entire distance, and then the team is declared first or second, right? Good. Now, my children, just turn the page. You will see there are some questions on comprehension, right? I will just ask you if you have understood the poem. Let's read, right? What is it? What is the first question? Complete the following sentences. You have to refer to your poem and answer these, fill up these blanks, right? Complete the following sentences. The first one, if nobody passes the ball in a basketball game, then what happens? You can't shoot the basket. You can't basket, right? Second one, in a relay race, if no one passes the baton, then tell me. I'm waiting for your answer. Yes, we cannot complete the race. Exactly. Very good. I think my students, my children have got it right. Then comes some writing. But I would like you to think also. My dear children, you must have seen that for every work, we need certain people to do it. We cannot do it alone. If you go to school, you find some people there in the school. Who all are there? Yes, to run a school, you are there. First, my students, my children. Then you have your principal. Then you have your teachers. Then you have your peons and other staff members, right? So, if we don't have each and every one in a particular setup, then we cannot make it as a whole. We cannot call it as a school. The building cannot be called as a school. It just remains a building if we don't have the components of that, right? So this exercise, what you need to do is, you are given certain things like to play cricket, I have just helped you a bit. It's given to play cricket, what do we need? Can we just play cricket without carrying anything? We need a bat. We need some equipments for that. But along with that, we need some batsmen. Can you play cricket alone? No, I don't think you can say, yes, we can play cricket alone. You need a batsman. You need a bowler. Somebody has to bowl, right? You need some fielders, and then you need a coach who will guide you, right? You need referees, right? So you can add on these things in the list. So my dear children, what you need to do is you have to think and write these things, like to make a film, what do we need? To run a good school, what do we need? To run a restaurant, you all must have gone to a restaurant with your parents, right? Do you just go and sit there and ask for the food? You wait, you call somebody or somebody comes to you and then somebody serves the food to you. Somebody is preparing the food for you. So just think, who are these people? And these people together call it as a restaurant. It's not I or you who will be calling it as a restaurant. We cannot make a restaurant. We have to depend on these people. So who are these people who are the members of these place present in these places to make it as a whole? I hope, my children, you can do it, right? Okay, good. Now comes a very, very interesting part of every poem. While I was reading the poem, you must have heard some of the words ending with similar sounds, right? Didn't you? I would refer back to your poem. Let me take here. right? You see, when I'm talking about rhyming words, what are rhyming words? Here, my children, you must know that every poem, not every poem, rather, I would say that most of the poems have got rhyming words, right? Now, what is rhyming? What are rhyming words? We have to see that there are some words in the poem. Here also in the poem that you can see on the screen, you can see some of the words sound similar. Sound similar. The last sound, the last part of that word sounds the same. For example, you see, teamwork, dream work, right? Then we have done, everyone. So one, the last sound, the last part of the sound sounds same, similar. So these are what are now, if I say what are rhyming words, these are two or more words having same or similar ending sounds, right? For example, tall wall, all is the sound that is similar in these words. Now in the poem also we have several rhyming words, right? Now what you have to do is, I have given you some words from the poem, and you have to think on your own. Think of a word which can rhyme with it. For example, one example is given to you, the word team from the poem. It can rhyme with the word beam. Team, beam. So the final sound, eam, is common in these words, right? So I think, my dear children, you have understood the concept of rhyming words. Now shall we move on to the next question? Here is a beautiful poem given for you, right? And based on this poem, we'll have certain questions to do, certain exercises to do. Now let's move on to a poem. I'm going to read a poem for you, all of you, and just observe one thing. It has got a rhyming scheme, but I'm not going to talk about rhyme here because the exercise, the question that follows this poem is a little different. It has got some other objective, right? I'm just going to read the poem. Listen carefully. The title of the poem is For Want of a Nail. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. So here the questions, what we have to see here is, now you have seen that because of something happened. There was a reason behind some event, right? Something happened because of something else. So here what you are supposed to do is you have to frame questions. I'm not asking you to answer the questions. The objective is that you have to learn how to frame WH questions. Yes, my children, you have got it right. Now, how to know what are WH questions? You must have seen there are two types of questions. One is WH questions and one is yes, no questions. Yes. Now, when I say WH questions, these questions are framed using the WH words. Now, what are WH words? Now, if I say, what are WH words? Tell me, what is the WH word here? Yes, you are right. What is the WH word? Similarly, we have so many other types of WH words which are used to frame WH questions. Now, here you have, I list out some of the WH words like how, who, where, when, why, what, which, all these things, all these words are WH words which are used to frame WH questions. Now, my dear children, if you look at these sentences, these answers, what is the first one? The shoe was lost because of the nail. The kingdom was lost because of the battle could not be fought. The battle was lost because there was no rider. Right? Now, in all these answers, you must have seen something common. There is a linking word here, because. There's a common word because here. And this because, the part which is following it of the nail because the battle could not be fought, because there was no rider. In all these sentences, you must have seen that these are the reasons given. So whenever you have this because word is the clue for you. Whenever you have any answer using because and you are asked to frame a question, just go for WH word why. Right? So I'm not giving you any other hint. I'm sure you will be able to do it. For example, if I'm not going to tell you the answer, but just a hint for you. The shoe was lost because of the nail. So what will be the first word for the question? It will be why. Now, do it. Right. Next. Like this. Okay. You have, I'll take the previous slide. If you see this, the structure, fine. I have given you some other question also for that. Now you see, the shoe was lost because of the nail. If to give you a hint, let me just give you one more hint for this. Whenever you are framing a WH question, you have to note one thing, that the verb, what is the verb in the first? What is the helping verb in the first answer? It's was, right? And was the main verb? Lost, right? So you have to see that how WH word and the verb should be put together. We cannot say why the shoe was lost. No, this is not the correct structure of a question, right? Whenever you have an interrogative sentence, you have to note that WH word should be followed by a verb. What is that verb? That verb is was. Then after was, the shoe, the subject, and then the verb, main verb, lost. And a big question mark. You must know that these punctuation marks are very, very important. I have purposefully not put there because I intend to tell you that you learn to put punctuation mark correctly. Every question, every interrogative sentence should end with a question mark. Okay, now having this idea, I think you can make 3 more questions based on the poem. You don't have to go anywhere else. You just have to think, refer to your poem, and you have to frame 3 questions, right? Okay, now moving on to this wonderful picture for you. I have thought, okay, let me discuss this picture composition. Can you see this picture? I will give you some time to observe this picture. What do you find in this picture? Something is going on? Right. There are some people who are busy doing some work, right? And each one of them is doing some kind of different work, right? Observe this picture carefully. This picture is there in your textbook also. You can refer to it. Now, I have given the names of these people in the box. Painter, gardener, plumber, laborer, mason, carpenter, and electrician. Now, all these people have got their specified work. It's not that gardener will do plumber's work and plumber will do gardener's work. No, not that way. A painter has to do painting work. A plumber has to do the work which is assigned to him, which is meant for him. So each one of them has got a different task to do. Now the question is, there are 5 questions given to you. And all these questions have been designed so as to help you or to enable you to identify who is involved in which work. Right? Like first one. Who is laying the bricks? You have to guess. One more thing. 7 names are given to you. Painter, plumber, mason, carpenter, gardener, laborer, electrician. And only 5 sentences are given to you. So you have to choose. See which one fits in where. Right? I don't think you need any help. You can do it very well. You all are so intelligent. You can do it. So just the hint for you is you have to see who does which work. Refer to the picture. You can guess it. You see, somebody is holding the ladder. Somebody is fitting in some doing some electric work. Somebody is doing some work with the bricks. You must know who does what. If not, think and do it. Right? Okay. Now, this was with the writing. Now, let me talk something to you. When you are sitting at home or when you are in a group, sometimes you feel like doing some work on your own. You don't want anyone else. There are certain things which you like to do always in a group, right? Now, it is up to you. It is your freedom. You just list in this exercise, you just list what all activities, what all things you like doing alone and what all things you like doing in a group. You have to just list those activities, nothing else. Now, the most favorite exercise of my young learners. I know very well what these tasks really attract you, is it not? Yes, for even the adults also. Now, this task, you see, so many words are hidden in this box, in this jumble box, right? And you have certain words given in the left box. You can list those. Just see: sometime, everyone, basketball, nobody, teamwork, baton. And other than these words, there are some other words also. You can even locate these words. One has been done for you. You may find it horizontally, you may find it vertically, but I don't think you will find any in diagonally, right? So see if you can try out. It will be very interesting exercise. But what is the trick? How would you locate? First thing, you observe the initial letter and the final letter of each word, right? That can help you to get a clue. Locate these words looking at the first letter and the last letter. It will help you to locate these words quickly for you, right? Other than these words, you should go for the other words also, which definitely would enhance your vocabulary. Next, my dear children, so far we have talked about WH questions. We have talked about the rhyming. We have talked about the word puzzle. But to conclude this, the concluding your slide is about a very interesting and an important part in our language writing. It is talking about contractions. I think you all are introduced to this for the first time. That is, what are contractions? Now, when we say, like we have certain verbs, when we use it with certain pronouns or certain modals, right? Like I am, I have, I cannot, there is. Now, to avoid this the prolonged use like there is a technique in English language where you can use the contractions, right? And how to use it? You see, what we have to do, we have to eliminate some part of the verb, right? For example, take this we will. Now, what we have done is, we have retained we and will. Will is your modal there, and from will we have eliminated W, right? So it becomes will. Now, when we pronounce it, we will not say we will. In the contracted form, we'll say will. We can't. We have. You have. There is. What have. So you have to note how we have to pronounce these contractions. It is to be noted here that we should not pronounce these contractions just the way we pronounce it when they are kept individually, like we will. We'll just shorten it and we'll say will. And most important thing, how to write it. We have eliminated one letter, but we have to understand that what should be replacing that. We have to put an apostrophe there. In some cases, wherever there is a double letter, we have to eliminate one, like can't, cannot, can't, right? So these are some of the contractions we have to look for. Now, there is an exercise here, the concluding exercise for you, that is, write the contractions for the following phrases. Now, you have in the previous slide, you can see that using not, right? Cannot. Similarly, here you can get a hint from these, or you should refer to the dictionary, or you should refer various texts you will find where you will get these contractions. And I hope you will try it out and enjoy doing this. But to conclude, let me help you a bit in this. Can you tell me what should be the contraction for do not? Yes, it is don't. We have to eliminate O and we just write D-O-N apostrophe T, right? So you try it out. I'll look for that, right? Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye, my children. Bye-bye.